Good morning, Fit Friend. Welcome. I am Jill Baird. I'm so happy that you've chosen to work out with me today. Charlie's very excited about this too. This is a 27-minute compound strength workout. Please be sure to warm up before you start this workout. If you need a suggestion, here is a list of warm-up moves that you can do. So this is compound movement, meaning that each move is multitasking, working multiple muscle groups at one time. So I'm going to be using a medium dumbbell. For me, that's about 12 pounds, and it's lighter than what I would use if I was taking a large amount of rest or just focusing on single muscle groups in each move. The only other piece of equipment you're going to need for this workout is a mat. And of course, if you enjoy listening to music during your workout, you might want to go ahead and get your music started now. Roll your mat out, do your warm-up, and join me back here for our workout. All right, guys, so this workout is 10 moves. Each move is going to be done for 45 seconds, and we'll have 15 seconds rest in between moves. We'll repeat that, so a total of 2 rounds with that timing, and then we'll have a third round, which is our speed round, where we're going to be working for 30 seconds with 10 seconds in between. I am going to go ahead and hit the timer, and our first move is going to be a front squat. So we're going to rack the weights. Whoops, it didn't turn on. We're going to rack the weights at our chest height, coming down into a squat and standing up. So feet are a little wider than hip width distance apart. The dumbbells are right about shoulder height. As I come down into the squat, I'm going to start pressing my feet apart and pressing into all 4 corners of each foot to come up to stand. Inhaling as I lower with control, and exhaling as I squeeze my glutes and come up to stand. All right, our next move is going to be a reverse lunge into a curtsy lunge. And I'm going to turn this way so you can see me. And I'm going to start with my right leg going back. Left leg stays grounded. Dumbbells are down by my side. Step back into a reverse lunge. Come into a curtsy lunge. Press up to stand. So gaze is forward. The dumbbells are by my side. And my shoulders are down and back in their sockets. So not hunching forward. And if you need to come up to stand upright after the reverse lunge before going into the curtsy lunge, you can do that. Okay, now my right leg is going to be grounded. And it's my left leg that's stepping back. So loop those shoulders down into their sockets, feet hip width distance apart. And they're going to stay hip width distance apart for the reverse lunge. And then for the curtsy lunge, I tuck that knee right behind my ankle. And then squeezing the glute of the front leg. For me, it's the left. To come up to stand. And then think about keeping your head stacked over your shoulders, stacked over your hips, so not leaning forward and not leaning back. Trying to stay as upright as you can. All right, our next move is a bicep curl, and I'm going to balance on my left leg, have my right knee bent, dumbbells facing forward, and curl. So I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I can definitely feel it. My heart rate is elevated. Even though I'm not jumping, we're working multiple muscle groups at the same time, and that gets our heart rate elevated. If you want to make this a little bit more of a challenge and work into the right quad, you can extend the leg as you curl the dumbbells. Keep your core engaged as if you were laying on the floor on your back and your dog or your kiddo or your cat was going to crawl across your belly. All right, so now we're going to do a hammer curl, and I'm going to balance on my right leg, and it's going to be my left leg that comes up to stand. So pressing down through my right foot, but squeezing my quad and my glute to lift everything else away from the mat. And then, of course, extending the leg if you want to work into that left quadricep a little bit more. Also works into the right glute a little bit more because you have to squeeze it tighter to balance. So balance practice is always important. For some people, it stirs up a lot of negative emotion. If that's you, it might be your body's way of telling you you need to do more of it. All right, we're coming down onto the ground for the next few moves. And we're gonna start down here with a bridge and a skull crusher. So heels in towards the glutes, heads of the dumbbells by the ears, like you're gonna answer the telephone. And then press your fists up towards the ceiling as you squeeze your glutes and lift your hips. So the elbows stay over the shoulders. And then imagine that you're pulling your heels in towards your bum, and you should really feel your glutes and your hamstrings turn on a little bit more. All right, next move is a circle chest press. I'm gonna move to this side. So what that is, I'm gonna tabletop my legs, but you can have your feet flat on the mat. Bring the heads of the dumbbells together right below your abdomen, and then circle them up together right above your chest. Press your low back into the mat so that not even an ant could come between your low back and the mat. For some people, it might be a little bit more comfortable to lift your head off the mat. It's just a matter of personal preference. So if you lift your head and you feel like that's hurting your neck, put your head back down. Inhaling as the dumbbells come together at the bottom, and exhaling as you press them over your chest. All right, we have a row and a glute squeeze. So shoulders over wrists. I'm going to extend my right leg and row the left dumbbell. So bringing the elbow back behind me, rowing the dumbbell like it's coming into my back pocket. Exhaling as I lift and row. Make sure you squeeze that glute so that it's your glute and you're not working into your low back as you lift that leg. Exhaling to lift, inhaling to lower. All right, I'm going to turn this way. Now I'm going to row with my right arm and lift with my left heel. So keep your gaze a little bit out in front of you. That helps to keep your neck in line with the rest of your spine. I don't know if you can see the dogs in the camera or not, and I'm not sure if you can hear Fiona. You probably can. She is snoring away. So if you wanted to get extra spicy, you could balance and do a plank and a leg lift in a row. I'm going to stick to the row and the lift here. So in addition to working the upper body with the row, core is working, and that left glute is working. Okay, our final move is a V-sit overhead press. I'm going to keep my heels on the mat, slightly recline, but keep your chest lifted towards the ceiling, and then press. If it's too much to be in the V-sit here, you can do a kneeling press or a standing press. So imagine there's that string lifting your chest up towards the ceiling. The upper abs are pulling down and the lower abs are pulling up to keep my core nice and braced. Well, I'm pulling them up. They're not pulling themselves up. This doesn't work unless we do. Okay, I suggest taking a 1-minute break here. Pause the video, get some water, jump back in. When you're ready, join me in that front squat. So squeezing our glutes and pressing through our feet simultaneously to come up to stand. Keeping the glutes over the heels rather than thrusting the hips forward when you come up. Exhaling to come up, inhaling to lower. All right, reverse lunge. I'm going to ground my left leg, step my right foot back into the reverse lunge and curtsy. We're having an unusual rainy, stormy day here in Southern California. It's raining and windy. I don't know if you can hear the garage door. It's making all sorts of creaky sounds in the rain, which we need so badly. We have not had much rain at all in the last, gosh, year and a half probably. So it's always nice to get the rain. All right, switching to the other side. So reverse lunge, feet are hip width apart. Curtsy lunge, the knee tucks behind the ankle. And then staying upright, squeezing the front glute to come up. And then we get some inner thigh work, some abduction here as we bring the knee behind the ankle. Ooh, these weights are getting heavy. Remember to keep the chest open. All right, I'm gonna set these down for just a second. Our next two moves are the balancing bicep curl and the balancing hammer curl. Shake my arms out. All right, I am gonna ground my right leg for the bicep curl. And I am going to extend my left leg straight. So flexing those left toes back towards my knee and pressing through the heel. Now remember, if you don't want to straighten the leg, you're just going to keep that left knee bent 90 degrees. And alternatively, it's still balancing if you keep the tip toe on the mat. And then that's a way to progress. Whew, and I just lost my balance. Happens to the best of us. All right, squeeze that glute, Jill. Squeeze the right glute, the balancing glute. All right. And it does happen to us all. We lose our balance and then we just keep trying, right? This is an opportunity. It's a get to, not a have to. So bending the right knee, grounding through the left, hammer curl. So palms facing each other and the leg extension. And then bring the dumbbells down with control. Keep them at your hips and then begin the curl. Elbows stay hugged into the side body. And then remember, we're coming down on the mat for the rest of the movements before we start our third and final circuit. All right, so we have that bridge with a skull crusher. Go ahead and come down onto your back, heels in towards your glutes, feet hip width distance apart. Bring the dumbbells to the outside of your skull, like you're answering a telephone with the heads of the dumbbell. Bring your low back onto the mat and then press your feet into the mat. Squeeze your glutes so that your hips don't fly up towards the ceiling. We don't want to overarch the low back here. We want to strengthen our glutes and our hamstrings in the lower body here. And of course our triceps. And maybe our mind even a little bit in the skull crusher. It is getting difficult, friends. Whew. Okay, so for the circle chest press, I'm going to come over to this side for this round. And I'm going to bend my knees. If you want to make this more difficult, you can extend your legs even more in the direction of straight. So more like a hollow hold with the legs. Exhaling as the dumbbells press up over the chest, and inhaling as you bring them down over your abdomen. So compound strength workouts are a fantastic way to be efficient with your training because they don't require a lot of time. We're working multiple muscle groups at once. And we even get some heart rate training in there. Okay, so row. Ooh, I have a sweat angel there on the mat. I'm going to row with my left arm and extend my right leg. And as I row, I squeeze the right glute and lift the heel in line with the glute. I'm not rotating open to either side, so anti-rotation movement here. Working our upper back with this pull, glute, and even the hamstring a bit with the leg lift. And then remember, if you wanted to make it extra spicy, you could come into that high plank and then do a 2-point plank row. I'm not feeling extra spicy right now. All right, now I'm gonna row. I just flipped sides so you could see. I'm gonna row with the right and lift the left leg. So shoulders over the wrist. Pull the dumbbell back towards your back pockets. Exhale as you lift, and inhale as you lower with control. Remember to keep your gaze slightly out in front of you, to keep your neck in line with the rest of your spine. And then after this, our final move is going to be the V-sit chest press. So if you want, you can hover your feet, but only if you can keep your legs from twisting side to side. So imagine that your inner thighs are magnetized in towards one another. Flex your toes back towards your knees and press your heels together if you are floating your feet off of the mat. Punch your palms up towards the ceiling. So after this press, we're going to have a 15-second break. That'll be our last 15-second recovery period. And then we're going to move into the 30-10 timer. So again, I suggest pausing the video here, grabbing a sip of water, and then hopping back in about 60 seconds. If you're ready to move on with me, front rack those weights, and we have 30 seconds of front squats. So front squats require our core to work even more than it does in a regular squat. All right, so we're going into that reverse lunge curtsy. So I'm going to ground my right leg, and I'm going to step back with my left. So chest tall and proud, shoulders down and back in their sockets, and then come up to stand. So my right glute and quad, that's my leg that's in front, are doing most of the work here. But of course, we're also, whoa, that was fast. Okay, other side, I'll turn this direction. Grounding the left leg this time. Feet hip width distance apart. Step the right leg back, hover the knee, or just kind of kiss the knee to the mat, which means it, for like a millisecond, touches the mat and then comes back up. Make sure that that front knee, the grounding knee, also isn't caving in. Press out against the pinky edge of your foot, like you're pulling the mat apart. All right, I'm setting, oh, I don't have time to set these down for a second. Okay, bicep curl, balancing. I'm gonna balance on the left leg this round. Thank goodness this is only 30 seconds. Anybody else feel that way? Are you like, nah, Jill, I could have used another 2 minutes of these. If you are, let me know, I'd love to meet you. So core, quads, glutes, arms, mind. It's a total package here, friends, especially in this home stretch. All right, I'm grounding my right leg for the hammer curls. You know, right now is the time when things really get tough, right? Because you're like, oh, do I really want to finish this speed round? Yes, you do. You knew what you were getting into when you started. Don't talk yourself out of it. You've got it. You can totally do it. Even if you put the dumbbells down and you do the moves without dumbbells, as long as you're still moving, that's the goal, right? We want to move our bodies. Okay, bridge with skull crusher. Thank goodness. Down on my back. So imagine, bring your attention down to your feet, your mind down to your feet. You don't need to look. Imagine that as you press into all four corners of your feet, you're also trying to pull the mat apart between your feet. And then imagine that there's magnets between your knees and your inner thighs. And they're not strong enough to pull your knees and inner thighs to touch, but they work in the direction of each other. So we have that simultaneous pull apart with the feet and the magnetization of the inner thighs and knees. All right, circle chest press. I think I'm gonna extend my feet. It's only 30 seconds. And if you do something and it doesn't feel right, you can always change it, right? That's the beauty of being human and not a tree. Like, I'm gonna bend my knees, that didn't feel right. If something doesn't feel right, whether on your workout mat or off, you can change it, right? You have the control to make changes in your life. All right, I'm gonna row my right arm and lift my left booty. And yes, that weight wants to slam down. Don't let it. Especially if you have neighbors below you. Don't slam the dumbbells down. So this is a very apartment-friendly workout since there's no jumping. All right, other side, left hand row, right glute squeeze. Pull your belly button in and then back towards your spine and up towards your low ribs. So a scoop, right? A hollowing of the low belly. Not a sucking in, a stabilization. All right, I believe we have one final move, and it is that seated press. So as I resist the gravity, the weight of the dumbbells coming down, my upper abs have to work extra hard to keep my torso upright. And of course, my lower abs are working to keep my feet lifted. Holy moly, friends. Woo! Nice job. Let's do some virtual high fives, a pat on the back. Please be sure to cool down. Do 5 minutes of stretching. If you need a suggestion for a stretch, I have a post-workout stretch video right here. It's really important to stretch your muscles after a workout, and it's very important to warm up dynamically before your workout. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed that as much as I did, and I will see you back here on Wednesday. I have a quick core challenge, quick core workout. All right, friends, take good care. Meet me back on the mat very soon.